Right. Hello. Hopefully this is working. It kept messing up the video for me, so hopefully the video is okay for you, because it kept zooming it in really close and I have no idea why. So yeah, hopefully this is all working now. I have no idea. I tried to put new settings on, so it was like HD and nicer, and apparently it didn't want to do that. So yeah, I've had to like go back to the normal one. It should be less good quality as I wanted, but we're on, so that's fine. I hope you all had a really good 2 weeks, I guess, now, because I didn't see you last week. But yeah, so we'll try and discuss episodes 4 and 5 today. But we shall see, because I talk about one episode for an hour and a half, so I don't know if I can do 3 hours of just talking, but I think 2 hours is a good amount to set. So yeah, okay, people are saying it's looking good. Okay, that's great. Oh, honestly, I was literally ready to go, and then it just started messing up, and yeah, it's so odd. And yeah, okay. Oh, good evening from Amsterdam. That's cool. Got somebody from Amsterdam viewing. That's awesome. Okay, everyone's saying it's working good. Brilliant. Awesome. Okay, so I think I'll start by talking about episode 4, I guess. We'll go back 2 weeks, probably the easiest way of doing it, rather than doing episode 5 and then looking back at episode 4. But yeah, also, I do have a moderator this time. So he'll basically, if there's too much spam or like inappropriate things, he'll be there to kind of delete it, or like put people in timeout or something, so they won't be able to comment for like 10 minutes or something. I'm not 100% sure how it works. But yeah, we do have a moderator, so hopefully there'll be less spam. And we've kind of set a rule-ish of like, if you kind of say the same comment 3 times in a row, then that's kind of a bit more spammy, because a few comments the same is fine, because I could have genuinely just missed what you said. But yeah, more than that was kind of going to be counting as spam. And yeah, just to let you know, it's been better anyway the last couple of live streams, so we should be all right, but he is there just in case. Oh, Robert Brooks says, "Sorry, I can't like your channel anymore. Realise you study at Aberystwyth and I'm at Bangor Uni." Yeah, can't have anybody from Bangor Uni watching my videos, so yeah. Obviously I'm kidding, you're welcome to my channel, but Aberystwyth is better than Bangor, just saying. But yeah, oh wow, we've got people from all over the world. We've got somebody from Canada, from York and Bavaria. I've never heard of that place. I'm really bad with geography. Yeah, that's quite cool. Oh, from South Africa. Awesome. Most of my viewers come from the UK and America, so it's quite cool that it's quite cool we've got people from all over the place. That's awesome. So, what did people think of episode 4? I know it's a long time ago if you haven't rewatched it, but I rewatched it yesterday and it reminded me of just how good the episode was. I definitely think it was one of the best episodes we've had so far. It was like really, really good. It was really funny. Yeah, oh my god, we got people from New York, from Ireland, Brazil. This is so cool. I didn't realise like how kind of everywhere people who watch my videos are from, especially because most of it's geared towards like UK television. That's so cool. I really enjoyed episode 4. Alex said on the podcast once that they never choose tasks based on points. However, they must have known Mike was disqualified in all 3 of the recorded tasks. Yeah, Mike had a very bad, very bad episode in episode 4 and episode 5 as he was all right in episode 5, I believe. But apparently episode 6 is a really, really bad episode for Mike. And if this, because I'd heard that Mike had a bad episode. When I watched episode 4, I thought, oh, that's the bad episode. But apparently it's not. Apparently it's episode 6. So I honestly don't know what he's going to do to lose more points than he did in this episode, which is insane. But yeah, some other people are saying that they enjoy episode 4. I tell you what, I'm feeling good about supporting Sarah from the start. Yes, that definitely called the right person to support there. I mean, I was sure that Michael Lee was going to be like well ahead, and Sarah's just absolutely blown out of the park. Like, she is so far ahead of anybody. It's ridiculous. I don't think there's been this big of a lead before. So far I've liked the even number episodes more than the odd ones. I think that's the same for me as well. I think episode 1, or I've always found with episode 1, it tends to be kind of the weaker one, just because you're getting to know the contestants first, so everything's a bit different, like new, and obviously now we haven't got the studio audience, which makes it a bit different. But yeah, definitely episode 2 I remember being amazing, and episode 3 was good, but yeah, I prefer episode 4. So yeah, it's pretty, I do prefer the even numbered ones on this season. Yes, definitely. Catherine Ryan did get a massive lead. I can't remember what her score was, though. I'm not very good at remembering people's scores, but yeah. Even though I've only watched it last week, literally forgot it already. So did I. Like, I was watching the episode and I completely just forgot all the tasks. So I'm so glad that I rewatched it. But yeah, no, I'll try and describe the tasks a bit better, because obviously lots of people would only have seen it 2 weeks ago. So yeah. Question from Liam: do you think Sarah's big lead is a detriment to the show? I don't think so, because, like, it'd be amazing to see kind of, one of the underdogs kind of come in and take over or get close, and I definitely feel like that is possible. But I get what you mean, kind of, oh, we know who's going to win, but I don't think it really impacts how you watch the show, because even though we might have a good idea of who's going to win the, like, overall series, we don't really know, like, what they're gonna do and how funny it is. So I don't know. Points aren't the main thing for me. But yeah, I don't know. It is interesting, because it is going to be hard for anybody to beat Sarah. I think Jamali has done quite well for the most part, except for when he's not disqualified in the last 2 episodes. He's won a couple of them. So yeah, it'd be cool to see Jamali maybe kind of like get closer, or even someone like Charlotte, but I honestly don't think that's gonna happen. But yeah. Am I the only one who didn't know Greg was Welsh? I only found that out like not so long ago. Well, actually no, a few years ago. I knew he went to a school. He grew up near kind of where I lived, a place called Wem, and I lived probably about like 20 minutes away from Wem. So I knew he was kind of from the area, and I knew he had roots in Wales. I think it was on the Who Do You Think You Are show, when they went, he's like descended from like the last Prince of Wales or something, which is pretty cool. Jamali's really broken free from the low end. Yes, I think it's possible that he could. I think it is possible he could kind of get a bit closer, maybe narrow the lead. Maybe Mike will, but then apparently he's supposed to have a bad episode. Jamali seems to do better since he started to bully Alex. I mean, he's kind of been bullying Alex the whole way through, which is just hilarious. I love it. Right. So let's start talking about episode 4. So the prize task was the craziest thing, which I'm just going to say straight up, none of them really brought anything in crazy. Like, none of the prizes were what I would call crazy. So Jamali brought in a picture of that kid smoking, and I guess that's crazy to see a baby smoking. So I get that. Lee was that weird like swimming costume that had like the inside of the body kind of on it, which is weird. I wouldn't necessarily call it crazy, but I thought he was going to argue that it's crazy that somebody would make this, or it's crazy that somebody would buy it, but he didn't. So I don't know, that's what I would have argued for that. Charlotte was the pictures of each president's. Charlotte's was a picture of herself superimposed onto every president's inauguration photos, which the lead up to that was hilarious. Like, all of the prizes are funny, but A, they're not good prizes. None of them are good prizes. And B, none of them are crazy. So, yeah, and then Mike brought in a toilet roll on top of a bin, which his argument was that it's a crazy choice and he can't, like, fathom why somebody would do that, which makes sense. It is a crazy choice. And then Sarah brought in some melted angel face candles, which again is weird, creepy. I wouldn't call it crazy, but yeah. So somehow, beyond my reasoning, Lee only got 1 point, and then it jumped up to 3, which was Jamali's. Like, I just didn't understand the points for this. It didn't make any sense to me. Yeah, I don't know. Alex says they're all 3 points max, and yeah, I think I agree. I think if Lee had argued that this is crazy that it exists, or it's crazy that somebody thought to make it, but he didn't really argue it at all, which I'm surprised, because I thought Lee would be arguing all the time. But yeah, I don't know. Because Sarah got 5 points, and then Mike and Charlotte got 4, which I liked Charlotte's. The story was cool, the build-up was cool, it was funny, it seemed crazy, and then it was crazy that they believed it, which is what they argued. But yeah, I don't know. Right. So someone says, still finding the prize tasks a bit weak this series. I agree. The prize tasks have definitely gone downhill as the seasons have developed, which is kind of understandable because they have to keep kind of like coming up with prizes, and there's only so many prizes you can bring in and all that kind of stuff, which definitely makes sense. You think Bob Mortimer would have smashed this one out the park? Yeah, I mean, him and Tim Key would come up with crazy stuff to bring in, definitely. And like, this is the only one as well, which I was like, oh, craziest thing, people are going to bring in good things, because a lot of the times it's kind of like a weirdly phrased prize, like the best thing, what was the last, something in the middle of the size of like a pig and a cat or something. What was it last time? Oh yeah, the most shocking thing that's smaller than a pig and bigger than a cat, which is such an oddly specific task. But so craziest thing sounds like an easy task to do. So I don't understand. Like, craziest thing, there's like, I mean, I don't know what I would bring in, but they have ages to think about it. Oh god, I'm really behind on the comments today. Charlotte's would have been better if Greg didn't immediately know that the pictures were fake. Yes, if she had done a better job of photoshopping it and kind of got everybody to like fully believe her, and then reveal, oh no, it's fake, I photoshopped it all. But like it was so obviously photoshopped that it's like, come on, like the last one was good and they did genuinely get them to believe that it was good. But yeah. Kiara says, as much as I love Charlotte, I didn't think she deserved such high points, but the fact that it was a straight up lie was so funny. Yes. Yeah. I feel like lockdown is a big part of the decreased quality prize tasks. A lot of the best prizes ever. Mark stealing Greg's trousers autographs on vegetables. You can't do right now. Yes, that is a really good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah, they are going to have limited access to prizes because, I mean, it is literally just grabbing something out of your house, really, isn't it? Which I guess is what everyone in season 10 got blamed for, was just like Daisy just picking up something random in a house. But yeah, I don't know what else I would have done. Yeah. Sloth the Bird says, I mean, I'd probably end up bringing a USB with all the 1.7 thousand plus screenshots I have of Greg and Alex. Yeah, I think that is pretty crazy, but understandable. I don't blame you at all. But yeah, that is better than anybody else's. I think the prize tests have been weak this past 2 seasons because there is no live audience for them to impress. I'm loving the fact that they can chat as friends, but I miss live audiences. Yes, I'm kind of like, I'm not really sure kind of how I feel about the studio audience, because I like the fact that it is just 7 people in a room having fun and being silly, and that's great. But the studio audience does add a really good dynamic that I think, like, yeah, it just can't be replaced. Like it is such a really good atmosphere with the studio audience there. And yeah. Because I think it is going to be no studio audience for at least the next series, and possibly the series after, which is insane. Hopefully, yeah, definitely next series, but hopefully the series after we will get more studio audiences in. I don't know. Depends how lockdown goes and everything, I guess. Right. So, on to the first task of episode 4, which I think is one of the funniest tasks of the series so far. I thought it was amazing. So, task 1 was the banana in the bottle task. So, you had to put all of the banana into the bottle, can't break the bottle cannot leave the lab, and there's like jelly in the bottle. It's a frozen banana, and there's like Vaseline all over it, and there's a trick lock. I loved the trick lock. I thought that was just really silly, and I know if I was there, I would spend ages trying to figure out the stupid lock. Like, who was it? It was like Mark with the briefcase, like spending ages just to, like doing something stupid that is just easily I know I'd spend way too long on that stupid lock. But yeah. Any clothing from, is in relation to the craziest task thing, is any clothing from Safia's channel would work. I was watching her video about hairy torso man printed on a swimsuit before watching the episode, and I thought that's what Lee brought. Yeah, Safia Nygaard, her channel, she reviews like really crazy clothings and fashion design, stuff like that. It's really funny, and yeah, any of those would be really good. It's skin time. It is skin time. Yeah, the banana challenge was really, really, really disgusting. Tracy said the banana task made me gag so many times, and yeah, it was so weird, but I loved it. It was just brilliant. It's exactly what I want to see people do on Taskmaster. And yeah, as Tracy says again, did love the simplicity of the banana task. It was just so good. So my first thought, which is what quite a lot of people did, was to microwave the banana and blend it. That was my first thought, and yeah, quite a lot of people did that. I think everybody microwaved it, I think, if I can remember correctly. Yeah, and then there's people starting to put it in and then realising that the bottle was full. And yeah, it was just such a good task. It just worked so well on so many different levels. And yeah. Oh, Kiara says I made the mistake of watching it while eating lunch. The banana in the bottle task was not ideal. Yeah, no, that's not a good thing to do. Couldn't you cut the banana into pieces? And also, I think there was a sticker with 201 written on the table, which was the code. Yeah, I think it probably, as Jay Green just said, like probably would be very difficult to cut up a frozen banana. But I think the microwaving works because it is, apart from the skin, obviously, the actual banana just goes like straight to mush pretty much. So yeah, I would probably blend it like Jamali did. I mean, I don't know who to talk about first because they were all yeah, I mean, let's talk about Jamali. I think he did quite a good job. He came third, so he got 3 points. Yeah, so you got 3 points, and his thing was he blended the banana, which was good. I like that. Good tactics. And then he tried to use a hoover to suck the jelly out of the bottle, which, I mean, it's not the best idea. But yeah, they didn't have a hoover powerful enough to suck jelly out of a bottle. But he did manage to do it quite well. And I thought putting the banana into a squeezy bottle and then doing it that way, I thought that was a really good idea of kind of like getting it into the bottle. Like, yeah, I thought that was really good. And I mean, I really don't know. Sarah, her attempt was just like swift. She seemed to just know exactly what to do. And yeah, she just, as usual, very quick with it. And yeah, very good. And yeah, someone just said what I was about to say. The fact that Lee brought out the food processor to put the jelly in, but then didn't, I think, to blend the banana, and instead thought, I'm gonna, was it I don't know, I can't remember the word he said, but when you chew it up and then spit it into the bottle, which, that was disgusting. I feel like Lee was saying stuff about like, I don't want to lose my dignity, and in this episode he's spitting chewed up banana into a bottle, and then episode 5 he's licking jelly off a table, which yeah, we'll get onto that later. Yeah, everyone's saying the Hoover was a complete collapse of common sense from Jamali. However, Liam says could have been for comedic effect, but I don't know. Jelly Hoover seems a bit like helium egg. Yes, that is a good comparison. I think efficiently removing the jelly was the most important part of the task. Yes, and who did this really well? It was... Well, I mean, Michael got the jelly out quite well, but he did take the bottle out of the lab, which, yeah, so he was disqualified. And I think it was either Jamali or no, I think it was, I can't remember who it was. Jamali or Lee poured hot water into the bottle to like melt the jelly, which I thought was a really good idea. I probably would have done of what everybody else had done and just kind of like swished it around and tried to get it out that way. Ricky says, I miss Rod, we need more cheaters. Yeah, no, but everyone is kind of following the rules quite well, or if they don't follow the rules then they get disqualified. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of people who else in this series who has tried really kind of got around the task. No, I don't think anybody has, but everyone's kind of doing the tasks for the most part quite well. I mean, they're not getting as disqualified as last series, but yeah. Sothber says, smashing the bottle open is off the table, because I think that was against the rules, as other people pointed out. I'm mostly Joe Brand style with little to no effort at all. Probably end up using one of the crew or something. Yeah, no one's really asked the crew for much. Yeah, but even if someone else said you can force Alex to break the bottle, but like even if the bottle is broken, I guess if you just break the top off and then you can just like put the banana in. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to think how I would do it. But again, I think my tactic would be I'd be quite confident to start with, and then just as the series goes along, I will just probably just get worse and worse and worse. That's how I imagine I would do anyway. So Sarah got 5 points for this. Then Lee, surprisingly, I have no idea how. And then Jamali, and then Charlotte got 1 point because she took like 20 odd minutes and also didn't get all the banana in because she tried to eat it and then spat it out into the bin. But I think 1 point is fair enough. Like, she did most of it. And yeah, I mean, she hasn't got many points. She's not a threat to anybody. But yeah, I think 1 point is fine. I know some people probably say, if you break the rules, you break the rules. But I'm fine with 1 point. Sven says, does anybody know if they have started filming new Champion of the Champions? I have no idea. I've been listening to like the Taskmaster podcast and I haven't heard anything from Ed to indicate that they have, but I assume it would be coming out after series 11, like before series 12, but I don't know. Yeah. Jonas says, never been a fan of Lee. The biggest problem I've got with him is it seems so forced, like he's trying so hard to misunderstand things. I kind of get what you mean. I think I don't know. It is. I definitely get where you're coming from. I think it is quite funny. But yeah. But I think it also kind of is funny. At least I find it funny. But I can understand if that's a bit annoying for people. Give Charlotte more points. Absolutely. Give her all the points. Liam says, I feel like Greg is too harsh on Charlotte. Yeah, I feel like sometimes, but he has always got this thing where, like, if they're younger, then they kind of get, like, less points in a way. But I don't know. I think it is funny, but sometimes I do think, like, Mike in this season, when he's not disqualified, sometimes gets a bit more points than he might normally have gotten, like all that I would have given him. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce your name, sorry. But as much as I enjoyed season 10 and 11, I think Taskmaster has lost a bit of its magic just because the contestants are sitting further apart from each other, and that affects the general vibe as well. Yeah, but, I would say the only, like, obviously they can't control it, it's not their fault, and I think they are doing a really, really good job, like, given the circumstances. But yeah, I definitely get what you mean, because, like, before people would be, like, hugging, then be, like, high-fiving and interacting, and, like, at one point, Greg held James Acaster upside down, and all that kind of stuff we can't get anymore. But yeah, like, obviously they can't control it, and I would rather they did it in this circumstance than wait for ages for Taskmaster to be over for them to kind of, like, come back to normal. Like, I don't want to wait years and years to get more Taskmaster, so, like, I'm fine with it. But there definitely is a lot kind of less, not chemistry, but just interaction between the contestants, which is definitely, like, I definitely get that. Mr. Apple, we have just finished talking about the banana in the bottle task, and we're about to move on to task 2, which, it was a brilliant, get the salt onto that table over there. You can't move while holding the bag of salt, and if it touches the ground or the bells that they're tied to touch the ground, then they have to restart, which, again, absolutely brilliant task. And yeah, I'll just see if there's any more comments from this one. Season 10 was great, though. We were always in suspense whether or not Daisy would get giggles-induced birth during the studio segments. Yes, that was, yeah. I honestly, she was about to pop at any moment. It was insane. I can't believe she did it while pregnant. Yes, we've all got people saying that it's an absolutely amazing team task, this one, and I completely agree. Right, so obviously Mike and Lee went first, and I absolutely loved their performance. I was thinking nobody can beat this. Like, they were so smooth. They didn't have to restart once. Like, the throw-in was just like, I didn't think to throw it at all. Like, I don't know. I didn't have any thoughts really. I was just like, I don't know how they're going to do this. And it was just so smooth and so amazing. And yeah, it all came crashing down. It's so sad that at the start of the task, Lee pointed to the sugar on the table and said, "Is that salt?" And Mike said, "Presumably." Yeah, and if you noticed as well, which I didn't until I rewatched it, is when they're kind of doing like the big shot of like when you can see them, like the tables and then them at the side, you can see that there's like a white bag under the table. And oh my god, I can't believe it. Like, I think if this was like season 10 especially, I don't think anybody else would have noticed. Like, Sarah was so quick and so like, oh, it was amazing to watch her figure it out, because yeah, so there it explodes and she gets sugar everywhere, and then she's like licking her lips and she's like, something's odd, and then she's reading the task and being like, yeah, this says salt, and then the licking the lips, and oh, it was such a good revelation. It was absolutely brilliant. I wonder if Sarah didn't realise it was sugar, if they would have just revealed it in the studio or just given the points based on time. I don't know, actually. That is a good point. I imagine they would have revealed it, because that's kind of like the whole point of the task. But oh my, Mike and Lee were so good, so smooth. Like, when you're watching the group of three do it, and they're just so bad to begin with, so bad at remembering like not to move while holding the sugar. And like, surprisingly enough, Charlotte was kind of the one with her head screwed on at this point for a bit. Like, she was the one who was pointing, oh, you can't move, and all that stuff. And then Sarah swooped in with the revelation, and yeah, it was so good. The Ginty Mister, I don't know how to pronounce that. Mister. I was suspicious when they put the sugar on the table and Alex said, "Do you want me to stop the time?" instead of just stopping the time. Yes, and I think they did say that in the studio, and Alex goes, "Oh, they told me to stop the time at this point," which, yeah, it was just so good. It was so good. Yeah, the editing was amazing. I think there is another point. Yes, of course, there is another point where it's great editing reveal later on in the episode. Was the bag probably intentionally open and made of wheat material so it would break and make it possible for them to taste the sweetness? Yes, I think so. Like, yeah, considering the fact that both groups broke the bag and, you know, got salt in their face, or sugar, then it definitely makes sense that that was kind of the reason. Because I was thinking, oh my god, they're out because they broke the bag. But then, yeah. Jenna says, I can't stop watching how the others also got the salt all over them and didn't realise it didn't taste right. Yeah, like, Mike got it all over him. Was covered in salt. Yeah, I don't know how they didn't realise, but I guess when you're in the moment and you're throwing the bag everywhere and trying to complete the task as fast as possible, then you're not going, well, at least it's not going to be something you're thinking about. Does this taste like salt? Like, yeah, I think they're probably just in the moment and just so into it that they just didn't even think about it, which I guess is the genius of the task. Yeah. Sven says, I bet the victory tasted so sweet to Sarah. I bet it did. It was so good. And I like the fact that Charlotte pointed out, like, oh, this is how Alex feels the whole time when they're doing something wrong. And oh my God, like, I couldn't be like, do what Alex does, because I would just be like laughing if they were doing it wrong, or I knew that they had missed the trick or something like that. Yeah. One thing I've noticed is when the task says the object rather than that object, you should be suspicious. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, they've done that quite a lot of times where it's like the bread. Oh no, the bread, they did say the bread in the lab, which it was Ashling's fault in season 5. Yeah, season 5. Yeah, Mike did have his mustache stopping the salt or sugar getting into his mouth. At least Mike had a lovely day out. He did. He had a great time and no one can take that away from him. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, yeah, one thing I wrote down in my notes when I was rewatching it is that Mike and Charlotte, like, I don't really like put them, they're not really that similar in many ways at all, but I can imagine them just like frolicking in a meadow, like, which Charlotte's just so sweet and innocent and not childlike in a bad way, but like just so kind of, I don't know, yeah, childlike, I guess. And then Mike is just, he just wants to have a nice time outside. Like, I can just imagine them just, I don't know, they're just so sweet together. It's just lovely. Right, on to probably the most complicated task in this episode, and one I think I would struggle with a lot. It was the getting the loo roll as far as possible, with it staying on the toilet roll holder, and only the first piece, I believe, can touch the floor, and they can stop at any point, but if it touches the ground, then it's disqualified. Yeah, I did find this one quite difficult. Like, oh yeah, I don't know, I definitely would have struggled with this one. But Slothbird says, Alex keeps a straight face a lot of the time, even though he knows someone's done an error. I can't replicate that. I'll just be curling up on the in a ball on the ground, just wheezing. Yeah, that is exactly what I'd be like. Like, I would feel so bad if they're like so confident about something, and yeah, I don't know. And Darcy says they're both complimentary teacher vibes. Yes, I can just, yeah, they're just lovely. And as Mr. Apple says, they are just wholesome. All of them are just so wholesome and lovely, and I love them all. Right, yeah, let's just talk about Lee to start, because he, like, so much went wrong with his attempt, really, didn't it? So just the fact that he didn't notice that that piece, the writing on the toilet paper, and just used it to wipe banana off him was just amazing. Like, it's just so funny. And the bit, well, I've replayed this bit so many times, but the bit where Alex tries to walk through the door and Lee is also standing by the door, and they get like stuck in the middle, I thought that was so funny. Like, I literally couldn't stop replaying it. It was absolutely brilliant. So then he was like, oh, I know, I can take the holder off of the wall, and then he took the toilet roll out of the holder to take the holder off the wall, which, I mean, to be honest, it's something I would do. I'm not gonna lie, I probably would do something similar. But yeah, the reveal of that was amazing. Yeah. Oh god, it was just so good. The reveal of it was just so good, and he scared a woman for nothing. He scared that woman. Yeah, I don't know. So Andre says Lee should have been disqualified immediately, which, yeah, I guess, but I don't know. I think doing something before you read the task, they can't really be blamed for anything they do that's against the rules before they open the task, so I think it's fine. And he did get disqualified in the end anyway, so it worked out all right. Alex says they let Lee think he nailed it and then disqualified him twice in the same episode. Yeah, Lee did not have a good episode at all. Oh my god. Yeah. It would have been funny if he was just disqualified immediately, but yeah, they got to let him at least do the task. I think that's only fair. Kiara says, I felt so bad at the reveal that Lee had immediately taken it off the holder because he had the best idea. He did. It was so good. And yeah, Jamali had a very similar idea. So, yeah, taking the holder off was really good. Getting the toilet roll as far as possible. They didn't mean it had to be like in like length or anything like that. It was just get the toilet roll as far as possible. And both of them had really great ideas, taken it off the wall, and then Lee put it in a car with a woman that he scared, and then, yeah, drove away with it, and that was really good. And then Jamali's attempt I found quite funny as well, because, so yeah, he did the smart thing of taking the toilet roll holder off the wall, wrapped it in a bag so it didn't ever technically touch the ground, which was great. And then proceeded to spend a while just throwing it over the fence, which, yeah, it really reminded me of Paul Chowdhury in season 3, when they had that task where they had to separate their clothes as far as possible, and he just chucked it over the fence, and it was kind of like, that's as far as you can go from the house. It's just the fence. If you throw it over the fence, then it's technically like really far away. And that's the kind of impression I got when Jamali was just attempting to throw it over the fence. Yeah, but then he obviously realised what he was doing was silly and then ran with it in the golf... what's the name? Golf field? That's not the word. But yeah, it was so good. The way they revealed that Lee messed up straight away was genius, leaving it until after the break. Yes, they let him think he got away with it, and that's brilliant, absolutely amazing. Jamali is a cool name. I agree, it's a really cool name. How did they check on the lady driver? That was a question I asked as well. Like, I guess they took her number plate, but how would they know how far they got in however much time they had? I can't remember. But yeah, I don't know. First instinct was to take the holder off the wall with the roll still on there. Yeah, see, that's smart. Smarter than Lee was. Golf course. I don't know why, I just can't think. Some words just completely escape my brain sometimes. But yeah, yeah. Kiara says that when people ask what I want to do after uni, I'm just going to say spending my days just walking, driving past the Taskmaster house in the hopes of being roped into a task. That would be amazing. I don't know, because Johnny Vegas got that guy to go through the tree bagging thing. Yeah, that was good. Christian says it reminded me of when Nish threw something and it bounced back to him and then he just gave up. Yeah, it was just one of those things that, yeah, they just realised that you can go further than that and you can keep going. It's just, yeah. Yes, Alice, that's a good point. The whole task is similar to season 3 task because of Al Murray using the cab. Yeah. I hope Mr. Apple says, I hope that Lee, Sarah and Charlotte go into the golf course at some point so all 5 of them can have done it. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure this this series was the first one that somebody hopped the fence, and we've already got Jamali going over the fence as well. So there, that's quite impressive. Are there never fans or tourists hanging around the Taskmaster house? I imagine there probably are. Yeah, but all the people they have kind of like involved in, that have been roped into tasks, don't seem to have a clue what's going on. So I don't know. Maybe it's just bad luck that no fans have got into it as well. But yeah. Drew says, saw an interview with Charlotte Richie who said she was terrified of the studio until episode 5, so looking forward to the next 5 episodes. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I've heard apparently there are some really like insane, chaotic things that happen in the later episodes, so yeah, I'm very excited for that. I'm so excited for the next episode. I just want to know what what goes so wrong with Mike. Like, but I don't know, I feel like it could be an over-exaggeration, but I have absolutely no idea. I mean, who haven't we talked about for this task? Charlotte and Sarah. And Mike. Yeah, we haven't talked, oh my god, we haven't talked with 3 people. So Charlotte's idea I thought was quite good. To start with, like fortifying the loo roll with tape. I think that was a really good idea. But her whole, her just doing the whole task was so stressful for me. There was so many moments that I thought she was going to break the toilet roll, like getting it through the window, and then the amount of times it almost touched the floor. Yeah, it just stressed me out. She almost lost that task so many times, and then she eventually did. Did you watch the Charlotte video Taskmaster? Oh, did you watch the Charlotte video Taskmaster put out today? I did. It was really good. I'm surprised they're releasing it so late. Because only like Mike's is the only other one that's been released, and that was last week. Yeah, I don't know why they're releasing them so late. Because if I remember, the other ones were released before the episode aired, before like the series aired. But I can't remember. Yeah, I thought it was really funny. Both Charlotte and Mike are just, they're 2 of my favourite people. They're just amazing. But yeah. The window was a touch of genius. It was, but it was very stressful. Like, yeah, if she had fortified the whole loo roll, then she would have like walked away with the task. With this task, she would have been great. But yeah, just like it was so easily teared from the window. It looked like anyway that it'd be very easily teared. And yeah, Sarah had the smart idea of stopping while she was ahead. She got it at a certain point, and she was like, "Yeah, we're gonna stop it here." And I think that was really good. Yeah, like she just put shoes on the buckets, simple yet effective, and she stopped when she got a good amount. Yeah, when she stopped when she got a good amount away, which I think was really, really smart. And then Mike also got disqualified. So I thought his initial ideas was good. Yeah, so he was like gluing it down with PVA glue, which is not the choice of glue I would go for because it's just so like wet, and I feel like that would kind of make it easier to tear. But I guess they might not have had access to any other glue. And honestly, I'm writing down so many quotes from Mike, and in this episode he said, "I boo-booed" when it broke, and I thought that was really sweet. Yeah, so good. But yeah, his ideas were good, but yeah, didn't really work out as well. Apparently they were released mid-series last time. Fair enough. I don't know, it makes more sense to me to kind of introduce them to put the interview tasks like before the episodes are aired. But that's just me to personally get a feel of the contestants before. Drew says, have you watched any non-English Taskmaster versions? I just watched the New Zealand one and it was pretty good. Yes, I've done a video on the New Zealand one and on the American one on my channel. And when I've got more time, like once I finish with uni, I'm going to be watching all of the international versions if I can find them. And I will probably do a video on them because I've heard good things about some and not so good things about others. So yeah, I will watch the other ones at some point. Mike's idea to unroll the most toilet paper into the bucket beforehand was great as well. Yeah, that was a good one. That was really good. Mr. Apple's made a good point here. No one went backwards in the house over the lab, which is interesting. Everybody went out the front door. Yeah, I mean, it would have been so much better to go inside because you wouldn't have had things like the wind kind of blowing the toilet roll and making it break. So yeah, no, I didn't even think about going inside. That's a good point. Yeah, Mike saying curses instead of just actually cursing. Yeah, that's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Right, I think that's everything I want to say for that task, unless anybody else has any comments, but it takes a while for me to actually see them. But yeah, so the studio task was write down the 5 things which were in the bowl, and they must look at the Taskmaster. One hand must be in the bowl and one hand must be holding the pen, and they can only look down to write. I mean, Charlotte, I thought her ideas were really good, but she did technically break the rules because she didn't keep a hand in the bowl because she took them out, but nobody commented on that, which I was very surprised by. But I did think it was a good idea. I thought it was, yeah. I'm just trying to think of any. I guess you could bring the bowl up. Yeah. So she keeps a hand in the bowl, brings the bowl up, and then you can just like look at it that way. Yeah, I don't know. She doesn't have much points, so yeah, I don't think it's worth disqualifying her at this for a minor rule break. But yeah. Do you think if they're done 25 series and 5 champions of the champions, there will be a champion of the champions of the champions? I hope so, because that would be great. Yeah, I would love that. It'd be so good to see people like somebody like, yeah, Josh won champion of the champions, first one. So it'd be great to see him compete with like a very new contestant. I think that'd be really, really cool. Christine Brown said, I would just tipped the bowl onto the table. Yeah, that's good. Miss Topper says, I think this is the meh-est live task so far, but that's okay to have a few low energy ones now and then. Yeah, I do agree with that. I think definitely had some really funny moments, but it was quite a restrictive task in a way. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It was quite funny to see, and just I imagine it would have been like so horrible to be feeling like, was it jelly, pickled onions, eggs, rice, and ice cubes. That would have been quite yeah, that would have been horrible to feel. And I like the fact that they all thought it was well, not all, 2 of them thought it was hundreds and thousands when it was rice. Like, I don't know, I was so confused when they kept saying hundreds and thousands, and it's like, it's rice, it's literally like on your hand. And like also with this task, I feel like there was quite an not an issue with the task, but like people could just say what the other people were saying. Like, I mean, nobody seemed to do it. People seemed to stick with what they had. But like when they go in, like, oh, how many eggs did you have? They were like 2 eggs, and I reckon they could have, if someone only thought there was 1 egg, they could just say 2 eggs, because they didn't look at their writing at any point. But nobody seemed to do that, which was fine. And it is just a game after all. But yeah, who got the most points for this one? Jamali did. Yeah, Jamali got the most points. Then Sarah, who was just, consistently good. Jamali was really good at this task, and I did not expect that, because he looked like he was literally counting the rice, and he managed to get it, well, not close, he was like 10,000 off, but he was the closest, and he just did really well. Like, it was surprising. It was, yeah, I was about to say it's as good as Joe Brand doing the whole laminator or horse, but nothing can beat that. That was just insane. Yeah, and I think Mike kind of disadvantaged himself in a way, because, I mean, as someone as Robert has just quoted, a premature conker, like, yeah, why would you guess that? And also once anybody has said jelly, and then he decides to say a dead jellyfish, which means he loses the point. I don't know why he did that. They could have just said 1 jelly, but unless he was just reading what was written on the card, or what he had written down. But why did he say that? Because of course it's not going to be a dead jellyfish. But, I mean, yeah, I just don't know why he would say that. He did, yeah, definitely disadvantage himself in that one. Mr. Apple says, I reckon Alex checked the writing afterwards. Yeah, that's fair. People are discussing who's going to win Champion of the Champions 2. Got Alex is back in Kerry, which I definitely think is a strong contender for Champion of the Champion. And I think Ed, for me, it's between Kerry and Ed. I think Lou has a strong she was very good at the tasks anyway. Yeah, I mean, they're all strong. I think Richard and Lisa are the weakest, definitely. But yeah, for me, it's between Kerry and Ed. I think one of those two is going to win. Jenna says, Lee's 6 squid pun made me wince, but in a good way. Yeah, it was really, I thought it was quite funny. I like stupid little jokes like that. Yeah, it was quite good. And obviously, Sarah won this episode. So at this point, after episode 4, she was 20 points ahead of the person in second place in the total score. And then she was 17 points ahead of Mike in just this episode, which, like, that's insanity. Has anybody been that far ahead in one episode, 17 points above the person in last place? I mean, probably, I imagine it probably has happened, but it just seems insane, like 17 points. Just ridiculous. Lisa only returns to torch Alex with pastry. Yeah. I think, I can't wait for the Champion of the Champions. I think Tracy says, I think Ed will win because he thinks about Taskmaster all the time now with the podcast and strategies and what he would do. Yes, but he could kind of like become overconfident and mess up a bit. That is a potential, but yeah, he was really, really strong on in his season, obviously. Yes, Alex Stewart says the rabbit episode from series 2 might be the biggest point difference, which, yeah, because I think Catherine got so many points in that one. That was ridiculous. Something to think about a episode of the most entertaining contestants. Yeah, I think it'd be different. I think obviously I would love that. Like, I'd have the people in my head. But I think everybody's going to find different people entertaining. So yeah, I don't know. It would be cool if we can just have our like dream cast in each one. But yeah. Right, I think that's probably time to go on to episode 5, which again I thought was a great episode. Right, yes, okay. So yeah, the episode starts with Alex eating a weird chocolate bar which has a slab of butter in it, and like salami, and yeah, it looked disgusting, and which I think, yeah, just great Alex content at the start. It was really good, and I love the fact that everybody forced him to eat the whole thing, which was just really, really funny. And yeah, I feel bad for Alex, but he does make it worse for himself, and I think he went fully into it thinking, like, you know, he knew that he was going to eat that whole chocolate bar, I reckon. Like, if he's made that, and yeah, I don't know, he knew he'd be eating that whole chocolate bar. But I just thought it was so funny how everybody just made him eat the whole thing, and I think that's just so brilliant. Christian Brown says, I know Joe Thomas has done the best in a single episode of 24 out of 25. That's impressive. I always forget how well he did in that episode. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, literally 5 points in every task apart from one. Absolutely ridiculous. Why does Alex make himself do these things? Exactly. Like, I think he's just one of the people that I reckon if you're on like a drunk night out with, like, he would literally do anything you ask. You will say something as a joke and he will go do it. Like, I mean, I think he'd do that sober anyway, but yeah. He is very dedicated to his craft, I agree. So yeah, the prize for this one was the best thing you can operate with your hand, which I think is a decent prize task. I think we actually did get some good prizes with this one as well. So starting with Lee, he brought in that like whistle thing, and the whistle thing itself isn't that impressive. It's a whistle, but the whole joke around it was really good, and it got referenced in 2 other jokes, I believe, 2 other prizes, which just shows how good the joke was, and it was, really, really good. And then that is brought down by Charlotte bringing in a drill, which it does fit the prize. It definitely fits the prize task, but it's not a great prize. It is just a drill. But yeah, it's straight down the line, and it fits with the category. But yeah, and I've seen a couple of comments just say where Jamali really impressed you with the prize task, and yeah, the tattoo gun was generally impressive. And yeah, I think the exact same thing, 100%. He completely deserves the 5 points for that. Because bringing in like a normal tattoo gun would be one thing, but bringing in a handmade tattoo gun that works is just amazing. Like, that is really impressive. But I do wonder, did he actually tattoo himself? Like, he said it was on his thigh. Like, I do believe him that he did tattoo himself, but I would love to see it. I don't know how good the tattoo would actually be. But yeah, that would be, it was just so good. I couldn't believe it. It was really, really good. The drill feels like season 10. Yeah, it definitely does. And Ricky says, not a single rude prize, a bit disappointing. Can you imagine if series 2, when the task was to bring in the bluest thing, and then 2 people, definitely Joe Wilkinson, I can't remember who the other person was, brought in like the weird pig thing. Like, I cannot imagine what they would have brought into the studio if it was the best thing you can operate with your hand, because I don't know. They would have brought in some weird stuff, I reckon. And then Mike's one confused me a bit. I don't understand the thumb thing at all. Like, you don't operate it. It's like a thing you put on your thumb. I just don't get it. At first I thought it could be, have you seen those like light up thumb things where they do like the magic trick with it? That I thought would have been quite good if he kind of learnt how to do it, but it wasn't. It was just a thumb. And the fact that he got 3 points for that, he would have gotten 1 point from me, because you don't operate it. It's not operational. It's a thumb. Like, I don't know what else to say about that. It's a thumb. And like, the audacity that Sarah brought in a bass guitar and got less points than him. I just don't understand. Like, I definitely think Jamali was the best one with that. It was cool, it was inventive, it was creative. But Sarah brought in a guitar. Like, that is a good prize, and you operate it with your hands. Yeah, it's, not good. Like, that's another thing where it's like, Mike was overscored in this one, but I was shocked at that. It was ridiculous. Oh wow, I've missed so many comments. Just talking too much. Noah says we haven't seen Fred the Swede in a while. No, I really like Fred. I wish we could see him again. I guess kind of issue would be if he is in Sweden, like travelling and stuff like that. Probably try to limit the amount of people they have them interacting with. But that being said, they could do another like video call task like they did in series 4, with like they're putting on the scuba suit. I feel like they could do something with that to get get Fred the Swede involved. The bass always gets the short end. I wonder, do the winners actually keep the prizes, or do they simply return them to the owner? I mean, wedding rings were at stake before. From what I've heard people say, I believe they do keep the prizes, but it is if someone asks for it back, like, they just give it back. Like, it's kind of, you get to keep it, but like, you do give it back if it is actually something incredibly valuable and all that stuff, which I think is fair. Like, if it's a cute little, like, the thumb. Probably not going to give that back because it's a thumb, but yeah, I think they'll definitely give back the bass guitar, like definitely. Mike gets a thumbs up from Sven. Yep. Yeah, so for me it'd be Jamali 5, then Sarah, then Lee, then then Charlotte, and then Mike. That is what that's what I would give personally, and by the sounds of it most people agree. Garrett says the bass was good. It was one of the first prizes in quite a while that meant something, but yeah, I agree, unlike the others that meant something, there wasn't any comedy to the bass. Yes, I guess if you're going by comedy and like kind of just the whole thing about it, then yeah, but I think with the kind of prize task, if it is like, yeah, I don't know, I think you do have to kind of get a good mix of comedic, good prize, and fits with the category, which she did 2 out of 3 of that, I guess. But yeah. Right, so the first task on in this episode was a 2-parter, which is it the first 2-part task of this series? I'm just trying to think. I didn't think about that when I was writing my notes, but I believe it's the first 2-parter. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong there. So obviously the first part was to cover the bottom half of your body, so basically from your waist downwards, with biodegradable cling film and gaffer tape. For me personally, my interpretation of this doesn't mean that you have to cover everything with cling film and then gaffer tape. Like, you have to be completely covered in cling film and gaffer tape. I think it is a combination of the two. Just my interpretation of that. But I do have an embarrassing admission here. It did not occur to me until I saw Jamali do it that you could wrap your legs individually and make like cling film trousers, which is quite embarrassing. And I like to think I'd be good at Taskmaster, but I would things like this would trip me up. Like, I fully would have wrapped my legs together. I know it. Sam says, I love how Lee knew when he was filming he would have to battle out his point on covering himself. Yeah. Yeah, he knew it would be like, I don't know why he would go in thinking of that as like, I need to cover everything, but I guess if you're kind of in that headspace of they could kind of trick me at any point and there could be a hidden rule or something like that, or I need to stick like straight to the what it says on the task, then I can understand being kind of like hyper vigilant with that kind of like, oh, it says cover it with cling film and gaffer tape, that means I need to be covered with cling film and gaffer tape like completely. So I definitely understand that. Yeah. Ricky says actually sided with Lee on this one. Fair enough. I definitely get why people would interpret it that way, but for me, I think, I don't know. Either way I think is fine. But one thing that did scare me about Lee's attempt was that he gaffer taped his bare legs. Like, I want to see a video of him trying to get that gaffer tape off and not hurting himself. Mr. Apple says, I knew it'd be a 2-parter. Yes, there definitely was that immediate indication that it would be a 2-parter, because I thought it had a very similar kind of vibe to the Series 7 one, where they had to tie themselves up and then go and do something, like put the boiler suit on. So it definitely had that kind of vibe for me, where you're tying yourself up and you're kind of like, disadvantaging yourself in some way, that you're going to have to do a task that involves like running or something. And yeah, I'm seeing a couple of comments here that are saying the second part went too fast and wish they had hid the hat further away. And I completely agree. Sita, sorry if that's pronounced wrong, said the second task was very anticlimactic. And yeah, I completely agree with that, because I was thinking they'd be hopping around for ages, or like people be trying to like rip the tape off or whatever. But like it literally, they just kind of just hopped over and put the hat on. Like I thought it would be like such a challenge to get the the hat. You know, maybe some hurdles or something, or they have to, or the hat is hidden and they have to go and find it. It was a bit anticlimactic, and it definitely could have been done a lot better. But I don't know, I guess they might have thought that would have been further away enough. Like, obviously they can't really tell until they're doing it. But yeah, definitely agree with that. Second half was disappointing. Oh, great, pronounced your name perfectly, that's great. You thought that they had to climb inside the plane. Yeah, the hat was inside the plane, so they had to climb up. Yes, that would have been good. Up a hill as well. Someone's just pointed it out. That would be great. That would be very good. Yeah. Drew, I wanted to see them take the tape off fast. It would have been really funny for Mack, who taped his trousers directly. Yes. Alex, they should have been made to put on some type of shoes or leg wear. Oh, that would have been good. Yeah. That would have been really, really good. Yeah, I definitely think like there could have been more to it. Like, obviously, like, I know it's not exactly like the boiler suit one, but that was just so brilliantly set up. Like, it is one of my favourite tasks ever. So I don't know. I just thought it was going to be a lot more dramatic than that. Ricky says, totally agree about Lee's mental approach to taping his legs. Not very smart, but would have liked to see in the aftermath. Yeah. Yeah, that would have been, oh God, it would have been so funny. It might be a outtake maybe. I don't think there's, no, I think there has been an outtake for this episode. Ooh, actually, I don't know. But yeah, so Jamali won this one, unsurprisingly, because he had the smart idea to not tape his legs together. So he got 5 points. And obviously this one is quite simple to kind of score, so I don't really have any issues with it. I know a couple of people pointed out before that Jamali's legs weren't completely covered. I found it quite difficult to tell, personally. I wouldn't be surprised because his was kind of like the laziest wrapped, I would say. But I personally didn't see many kind of gaps in it, and I imagine they would have kind of I don't know, checked it to make sure that it was completely covered. But I guess it's kind of like not as extreme as Lee was going, where it's like, oh, if my shoelace is out, then I'd be disqualified. And then Sarah was only 1 second slower than Jamali, who could walk, and she had to like hop, which just proceeds to say how amazing she is at it, and just how quick and consistently good she is. Sven says Jamali had holes in it, which fair enough. I wouldn't be surprised, but yeah, I personally didn't see anything, but I'm absolutely not surprised if he did have holes, holes in it. But I guess they probably went with he's the only one sensible enough to not tape his legs together. So yeah, maybe they kind of let him off for that bit because he was smart at one point. Robert Brooks says Charlotte said she'd duct tape herself before, which her, like, what she said, kind of like, I feel like I've done this before or whatever, and then in the studio being like, I was just doing it and I felt, this is right, this is familiar, and I thought that was just amazing. It was so good. There's a comment I saw before that I wanted to reply to, but I can't find it. Oh well. Alice says, I thought there was a weird theme in this episode with people having done the tasks before. Yes, there is actually. So Charlotte said she felt like she was doing this task before. She's done this before. Mike with the jelly. like the feeling the jelly with your face and stuff like that. Mike said he'd done that before. And what was the other one? I can't remember what the other one was, but there was another one. Someone says, I cling film myself before as well, but I was a small child, didn't we all? Yeah, the only thing, which someone else, Robert should pointed out, was wrapping up yourself like a mummy for like Halloween costume with toilet paper. That I've done, so I guess that's kind of what she might be thinking of. Mr. Apple says, Halloween costume last year restricted my movement in a similar way, but legs weren't taped together. Yeah. I just can't believe that I didn't think to do your legs separately. Like, that's so bad. So, task 2 for this episode was make the best uniform for the bee, and they must wear the beekeeping outfit at all times. They had 5 minutes to select 5 items and then 15 minutes to make the outfit. And weirdly enough, 3 people thought that they had to make a beekeeper's outfit. So much so that I was like, oh wait, did I mishear the task? Did they have to make a beekeeper's outfit? But no, they didn't. Just 3 people thought they had to, which I guess maybe they got confused with, like, it says beekeeper's outfit in the task by saying you have to keep it on. Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. And also the fact that Mike just really struggled to be specific with what he wanted. I thought that was really funny. And like Alex just had to keep saying, no, you need to be specific. You need to be specific. I thought that was really funny. Mr. Apple says, "Thing I like about Taskmaster is how they present the tasks." I agree. I love it. Yeah. It's just really funny. There've been so many genius ways of them bringing the task to them, and I think that's really, really good. Tracy says, what's funny is I didn't even think about making a beekeeper suit because I don't think that as a uniform. Yeah, fair enough. Uniform, I would probably go for like fireman or like police officer, kind of like typical uniforms. I wouldn't really go for, the end results. It was like Pope, a Matador, Beeble Knievel, Beekeeper, and then Ghost, which whether all of them are outfit uniforms is another question. And Dawn says Greg was trying to wind Charlotte up with the uniform caveat. And yeah, that was quite funny. And she actually started to argue back with him, which was good to see, because she has just kind of given in a lot of the time and just been like, yeah, move on, it's bad. But yeah, she was really good at arguing. She was like, oh, you've asked everybody if it's a uniform, have you? And I thought that was really good. And her little Pope was so cute. And yeah, I'm glad that she ended up getting 4 points for that, which I think was really good. And she was the only one to think about cutting the gloves, which was genius. And I saw a comment before that was saying that that scared them, because it did genuinely look like she might hurt herself by doing that. And yeah, the Pope was, little bee Pope was so good. Papal bee. Mr. Apple says also arts and crafting something while very small, while wearing gloves is a great task, but then having to be an outfit for a bee while wearing a beekeeper's outfit is such a good thematic tie. Absolutely agree. It was really good. Like I imagine I would get so annoyed with that. Like, oh my, it would be so fiddly, and with the gloves and oh god. Yeah, it'd be very difficult. Could they have taken items from the room or bits of their beekeeper's outfit to form a bee uniform as well? Stuff already around. I don't know actually, because they didn't say they had to use the 5 items that they ordered. So I guess they could have found other things in the room. Yeah, I agree with that. Jay Green, it says, I thought maybe they could have worn the gloves on their feet to keep their hands free. Yes, I guess you could. Yeah, you could wear the uniform just not as it's intended, which I guess is, yeah, still wearing the uniform. Just because you're not wearing it right doesn't mean that you're not wearing it. So yeah, I agree. They could have definitely kind of do something a bit different. I personally think that cutting their fingers off the gloves was really good because she's still wearing the gloves even if they are broken. Yeah. Sarah did the beekeeper's outfit, and it was like a whip, and just a good idea, but it didn't really look like a beekeeper. And one thing about this, kind of the way the task was dealt with in the studio, is that Mike could not stop laughing at Greg and Sarah talking about her like bee, which I thought was really, really funny. I love it when contestants just cannot stop laughing because they're finding everything so funny. Like, it just shows how wonderful the show is and just how much people enjoy it, which I love. And yeah, everyone's talking about Beevel Knievel, which is like, yeah, really good. I mean, I don't know how he did that. Like, Sita just said, it was impressive how much detail Lee's outfit had with those awful gloves. Like, yeah, it was so impressive. And yeah, I don't know how he did that. I definitely couldn't produce something as good as that. And yeah, it was inventive, it was creative, you knew what it was when looking at it. So yeah, I think he fully deserved 5 points, even though I did love Charlotte's Papal Bee. Lee's just had more detail on, which I think definitely deserved 5 points, so 1 point more than Charlotte. Ricky says, she just reminded me when you said fiddly, has anyone been assigned an individual task yet? Ooh, no one's done an individual task yet. I don't know whether they will in this series, because they said at one point, I can't remember where I heard, but they had to stop doing the individual tasks because all the contestants were thinking that every task would be an individual task, and it was kind of ruining it a bit, or some of the tasks a bit. So I don't know whether they'll bring it back this series. I hope so, because I love the individual tasks. But yeah, hopefully either this season or maybe next season they might bring a individual task in. Evan says, do you have a live session about each and every Taskmaster episode? So far, yes. Obviously, I had to skip last week, and I can't promise that I'll be able to do it next week because, like, my uni work, like my major piece of uni work is due in like less than 2 weeks. So I hope I will be able to do a live stream after each episode. But it's kind of like, I'll see how it is like the day before and like how much work I've got to do and all that kind of stuff. But hopefully, yes, there will be one after every episode at Saturday at 6 o'clock. Hopefully. Oh yeah, Richard Herring's task was individual. That is a good point. But I guess it's kind of like an individual aspect of a main task. But yeah, that was really good. I liked that episode. Yeah, Rob Beckett's accents was good. I love it when it is just one person has to do something like extra that everybody else has to do. Like, my favourite one is Joe Lycett and the painting task, when he had to smile at the camera every like minute or 30 seconds with increasing intensity. And yeah, that was that was amazing. Who have I talked about? Mike did a matador outfit, which did not look like a matador at all. Like, I have no idea. I think the grey thing at the end was supposed to be a sword, just from what he said, but it did not look like a sword, like, whatsoever. But yeah, I think he got 3 points for that, which I don't know whether I agree with. So the orderings for that task was Jamali got 1 point for his weird ghost from the Christmas Carol things, which technically isn't a uniform. But yeah, I think Jamali deserved 1 point for that. And then Sarah got 2. And then Mike got 3, which I think either of them, they should have been kind of the same. But yeah, I don't know. It's a bit difficult. And then Charlotte had 4 and then Lee had 5, which I completely agree with. It's just Mike and Sarah. I can't decide which one's worse out of those two. Don says Mark Watson's individual task was my favourite. 5 months of cheeky texts. Yeah, that was brilliant. I love that. Like, I want that book. I want to know how many texts. I want to know how many. I want to read them all. I'm surprised they haven't kind of like released it yet. I really want to know if Greg knew which contestant was sending the texts or not. I don't think he's ever said. Yeah, I don't know actually. I imagine he would have known, but yeah, because I think if I'd got a few texts from an unknown number and not had any idea who it was from, then I probably would have blocked them, which I'm guessing he didn't do. So yeah, I reckon he probably would have known. I don't know, that's just a guess. I have really no idea. Right, so the third task, which I think is the best task of this episode. Yes, it is the best task of this episode for me personally. So the task was to put the items in order of how many sides they have. They cannot touch them with the hands, and if any of them fall on the floor, then you're disqualified and you're wearing blinding goggles. Which, first of all, didn't say they couldn't take the goggles off. Which, yeah, nobody kind of realised. Might have been something in the task that we didn't hear that said they couldn't take the goggles off. But yeah, it's kind of like with series 5 in the painting task where they had to paint in the dark and Mark was able to turn the light on, and then in the stacking the cans task, Bob just took off the harness thing. So yeah, I believe they didn't say they couldn't take the goggles off. So yeah, I feel like somebody could have done that. What was that? Yeah, Mr. Apple says in the Taskmaster book, some of the texts are printed and some of them specifically reference Taskmaster. Yeah, so he did probably know. He did probably know then. So yeah, taking the goggles off. Can't say I would have known it to take the goggles off, but I'm surprised nobody did. Yeah, this one was, again, another kind of disgusting task, but also I couldn't stop watching it. Like the banana in the bottle task. Didn't say they couldn't take it off. Everybody I think was kind of good to begin with. Apart from Jamali, he kind of ruined his straight away. But looking at Charlotte, who did incredibly well at this task, which, like, how did she do so good? I reckon I would have been too like freaked out by like touching the jelly with my face and like the smell of the cheese and all that. I just don't get how she was so good at it. It was like, oh, okay, yeah, this says 6 sides. I know exactly where to put this. And oh, this one's got, oh, paper, you go next to jelly. Like, how did she know? It was just really good. Like, I'm pretty sure she got it almost spot on, which, yeah. I don't know how she did that. It was impressive. And then Sarah, unfortunately, she dropped... was it the egg? No, it wasn't the egg. It was something else. And Sarah's was absolutely hilarious. Yeah, she was just licking everything. And when she put her chin in the water, like, it was so good. It was just, oh, brilliant. And the sigh of defeat and just exhaustion and everything when the item fell off the table, it was just, I just felt so sorry for her. She just looked so defeated. Still wondering how many sides a banana has. Same. Like, I probably would have, like, I don't know, because you count the top and the bottom of the banana. Yeah, 5 seems too little to me. Carla says, the image of Jamali slurping the whole jelly had me laughing so hard. Yes, it was such a long piece of jelly. It was so good. Like, oh, yeah, it just amazes me how much they're willing to embarrass themselves on this, because I can't imagine myself doing that at all. It's just ridiculous. Kiara says, I kind of didn't like the fact that something falling off the table was instant disqualification rather than losing points or something. I don't know, I'm a bit sick of all the disqualifying. Yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from. Yeah, maybe if they had a certain time limit and if something fell off, then you get something docked off your points. But I guess you can't really put it back on the table, because if you're using like your mouths to touch it, it might be kind of like unhygienic to do that. Yeah, I don't know. Apparently this is Charlotte's first ever victory in a pre-recorded task, which is impressive. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And Mr. Apple says Charlotte did so well because she's a primary school teacher, so she knows about shapes. Definitely. How many sides does an egg have? Infinite. That is a good question, Sita. I don't know. I saw somebody point out on Reddit that they should have said how many faces they have, because then it's a bit more kind of less open to interpretation, because as Mr. Apple says, an egg has one face, but like how many sides does it have? I think, yeah, I don't know, it is difficult. I guess it is kind of open a bit to interpretation, but yeah, I don't know. Kristen says it had a 20-minute argument about the difference between sides, edges and faces. Yes, yeah. I feel like Lee's weird noise thing was really missing the studio audience. It felt like they were trying to force an iconic moment, but it wasn't really working. Yeah, I definitely get what you... Yeah, I get what you mean. It was fun. I did find it really funny, but yeah, with the studio audience, it would have been even more hilarious. Yeah, definitely. Ricky says, felt too chaotic for me, which made it hard to understand the awarded points. Yeah, that is fair. I believe 3 people got disqualified in this task, so I guess it's out of everybody they're kind of talking about. Sorry, they're only, when they're kind of distributing points, they only really have to think about 2 people. So yeah, it was between Mike and Charlotte. So I guess that kind of made it a bit easier to to kind of distribute the points. So I definitely understand what you're talking about, because, you know, you could definitely argue that this actually has more sides than that. Yeah, I don't know. It's quite hard to say. Apparently bananas have 7 sides. Yeah, that seems more accurate to me. 5 just seems too little for me. Yeah. Jamali was just hilarious to watch. Just failing so early on, and then just deciding just to destroy the place, which I respect that a lot. Like, just be like, you know what, I'm just gonna have a bit of fun. Yeah, so I think that was quite funny. Jay Green says an egg has 2 sides, the inside and the outside. Yeah, that sounds logical to me. Circle has infinite sides. Yes, I think I remember learning about that in maths and stuff. And Kara says, surely it depends on the banana how much sides it has. Yeah, I agree. Like, it is a very kind of, the whole task is kind of open to interpretation, I guess. Yeah, I know it's difficult. Overall, I still really enjoyed the the task, but it was quite like quite difficult to kind of determine how many sides they have, but I don't know. Sven says, this is one of those tasks where you can just do nothing and get awarded some points for simply not getting disqualified. Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, if you just hadn't done anything, you would have come probably third overall. So yeah, definitely. I'm trying to think who else. Oh yeah, Lee. Lee was doing really well until the jelly fell off the table, which a couple of people have mentioned. The sound was both funny and disgusting, which it was. I did feel so sorry for him, but then throwing the jelly was very funny, and he had insane accuracy with his throw, being completely blinded, which I thought was really, really good. Oh, there's something else about Lee that I think I'm kind of missing. There was something else that he did that I haven't written down. I just remember him. I think I was just laughing too much when I was watching the whole thing. But yeah, a very Bob Mortimer moment. With the destroying everything because she failed. Yeah, definitely agree. Oh, yes. Kristen says he knocked the egg off earlier but didn't notice. Is that referring to Lee? Because I think he did. Or was that... Yeah, I think Lee knocked the egg off before. Which, the egg is a horrible one. Probably the best idea to do with that egg is to, like, kind of break it. Because then it doesn't roll off. That's probably the best idea. But obviously, like, if you're thinking it in the moment, you wouldn't think I'm going to break the egg. But I don't know. I'm surprised nobody didn't break the egg when they were like picking it up in their mouths. Like I know Alex was like being, be careful with that because I was expecting somebody to bite the egg and it break. It did fall off. Kristen said Lee knocked the egg off before. Yeah, fair enough. But he did. That would have been another horrible moment for Lee if he didn't realise he knocked the egg off and then thought he'd done really well. The egg would have more size if he broke it. That is, that is a good point. That is a very good point. I didn't think about that. I guess, yeah, you got me. Yeah, I don't know how else you do it then. How is this task following COVID protocols? Definitely nobody is going to clean that place with PPE on. I would imagine it is they would use PPE. From what I've heard, like shows are having to be like extremely safe, like ridiculously safe. I don't know. I imagine they are safe because they have to be to be ordered to actually like get the show made nowadays, I think. Yes, and then Mike is the only one we haven't talked about. And one of the only things I've got written about Mike's performance is that his instinct was to squeak like a bat, to, I guess, do that echoey thing where they know where things are. I love Mike so much. He just comes up with like the craziest things. Like, I just don't understand how they pop into his mouth, like into his head. But yeah, Mike did a really good job as well. He just went in and did what he had to do, and And yeah, it was just amazing. Squeak like a bat. Yeah, maybe he did. Maybe that's what he was doing, and he did pretty well. He was only slightly less accurate than Charlotte. So yeah. White Buff says, my friends in film and TV, and they take PPE very seriously. Yes, I think if I had done a final film for my university degree, then there would have been so many restrictions with PPE and COVID restrictions. So, oh my god, it sounds like a headache, to be honest. I'm glad I didn't do my final project as a film, which even though I wanted to do, but yeah. Ava Code says he just bumbles about like a very stereotypical English gentleman. Yeah, he does, and I love that. It's amazing. A couple of people is that what it's called? Echolocation. Okay, makes sense. So you thought that he assumed he wanted to squeak like a bat out of distress. I mean, that could be what he meant. I have no idea. That's just what came into my head. I was thinking of kind of like dolphins do. Like they communicate. Well, no, they communicate with. Is the same kind of thing as bats, right? That's what came to my head. I might be completely wrong. Like, I have no idea what goes on in Mike's head. So it could just be like he was distressed and felt like squeaking like a bat. But that's what I always imagine. Like, he hasn't got a vision, so he needs to do something else instead of vision. And what he thinks is the echolocation thing. But I don't know. Yeah, I agree. Sarah is the genius of this series, definitely, because she's just so, apparently she reads the task over to make sure that she's read it all completely and she's understood it all, which is a really good way of doing it instead of just jumping in. I feel like that is a very smart way of doing it. I don't know what else to say about this task. Like, there's so much just went on in that task. Like, there was so many really funny moments in this task. Like, I'm just blanking because it just so much happened and it was just so good. I think that is definitely one of my favorite tasks so far. Definitely my favorite task. Actually, no, it's not my favorite task this episode. I was wrong when I said that. I think the studio task is my favorite task. But I think it is definitely one of the best tasks this season. So, as I just said, the prize task is my favourite one. I think this was, one of the best studio tasks that they've done. I thought it was just amazing. So it was a game of slap, but instead of slapping, it was marshmallow and tongs. And you had to whack out the marshmallow from the tongs, which, like, slap is a game that that I played. I was really bad at it. I'm really bad at it. I have quite terrible reflexes. I would have been terrible at the task, but it was so entertaining to watch. And I know kind of like Greg jokes about kind of being like, oh, this is intense, like when it's like a very kind of conservative studio task, if that makes sense, where they're not really doing much, all this writing stuff down. But this genuinely was tense. Like, I was glued to the screen. It was so brilliant. So I wrote down a couple of highlights. Obviously, we can't talk about this task without talking about Mike, as usual. I've already seen his name and pop up in the chat. His praying mantis crab thing and then cropping it, like, you just had no chance of just, it was a great, just create a distraction and then strike when they are just wondering what on earth is going on. It was just amazing. Mr. Apple says, I wish there'd been more rounds. I agree. I think there was 6 rounds and there definitely should have been more. It was so good. It was so good. White Buff says, it scared me. I was worried the people who had to go in with just their hands would get hurt by the tongs. One thing that I was surprised by this task is how easy it seemed to like quickly pick up the marshmallow with the tongs. Like, I thought it would be quite difficult to do that. Like, I don't know, but Sarah's first sweep, she just did it so effortlessly. Like, it was just, yeah, it was just brilliant. Like, I thought that would be kind of the main issue of it. Yeah. Tracy said, did anybody successfully slap the marshmallow away? Yes. It was a group of 3, and it was either Sarah or Jamali. It was Sarah. Sarah managed to slap it out of the way. She was the only one who managed to do that, I think. A couple of other people are saying the studio task was their favourite studio task ever. It was so, like, genius idea. Like, that's what I love about Taskmaster. Taking a simple game that everybody's played, or pretty much everybody's played, and just making it weirder and making it a bit more fun. And I think that's just one of the genius about Taskmaster. It's just great. Picking up looked a lot easier than flicking the marshmallow away. Yes. It does make sense for slapping it away, but I guess you have to wait for that person to move. Like, you can't move first, which I guess is the kind of difficult part of it. But yeah, I don't know, there was just so many great moments in this one. I loved Charlotte's finishing attempt. It was just brilliant. Like, just no nonsense, just grabbing the marshmallow straight away, and that was really good, which definitely kind of redeemed herself from her attempt to swipe away the marshmallow from Lee, because she was in the middle of saying, I'm gonna get you, and he just took it, and just a minute later she reacted, which is what I would be like, to be honest. Jay Green says, the Tong Marshmallow game is definitely something I'm going to remember for a future party game. Yes, definitely. Because, it'd be so fun to play. And if you have like a group of people and you're playing slap and tong, I guess you can call it. It'd just be so good. I would have tried to flaunt with my other hand to try and get the opponent I'm sorry, I can't quite understand that sentence, sorry. Yes, I was also rooting for Charlotte, because obviously we saw by the points that she was very much kind of in the running to win, and I think the fact that it was a group task did play in her favour, because obviously Sarah is really good at the tasks, and they only had to do better than 2 people, so I guess it did kind of play in their advantage, in Charlotte's advantage anyway. And I was desperate for her to win, because I didn't think she was in with a chance of winning an episode, unfortunately, but she did, and that was amazing. And I believe, so the group of 3 got 4 points each, and then the group of 2 got 2 points each, which I think that's completely fair. I think that's very fair. Has there been any repeated names of contestant? And has there been any? I can't speak. Has there been any repeated contestant names? The only ones I can think of: Tim Key and Tim Vine. Different Catherines. And Mr. Apples has pointed out Richard Herring, Richard Osman, and Catherine, Ryan, and Parkinson. I'm just trying to think of any more. Alice says Joe Thomas, Joe Wilkinson. Yeah, there's actually quite a lot, I guess. I'm trying to think of any more. Yeah, I have no idea. And Joe Lycett. Yeah. So halfway through the series, and I asked people on the poll I put on my community tab, like how much you were enjoying this season so far now that we've seen half of the episodes. And so the options I put was amazing, I love it, and like it's about average, or it's not as good as all the other seasons. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see like kind of what, you know, all your opinions on this. I know I've heard a lot of it, but yeah, where does this kind of fit in with your own like personal like rankings of the series? Because I've been struggling with this one a lot because I think it is such a good series so far. Yeah, I love it. I think it's really, really good. I'm not sure where I'd put it. I'd probably say definitely the top half of series, but yeah. Alex says, I always like it when the series loser wins an episode, their one little victory. Yeah, I agree. I like it when we kind of get a series that everybody wins an episode, which I can't think of a series where that has happened. There's always kind of one person that doesn't win an episode, which is a shame. Like Ramesh didn't win one, even though he was so close to winning the whole series. Yeah. Drew says, I'd say this season is middle-ish. It's fun, but just below middle. Fair enough. Like, it is definitely kind of a lot, kind of a bit more, not reserved, that's the wrong word, but just like a bit more chill than normal. But I personally really like that. I think it, yeah, it's just really good. Yeah. CT says, it's growing on me. The first 2 episodes were a little off, but it's getting better. Yes, I do agree with that. It is definitely getting better as it goes on, and I feel like for me at least, it's consistently entertaining, it's consistently just funny, and yeah, I think it's brilliant. There's not really been an episode that's really let me down so far, which is great. So apparently series 4, 6, 8, 9 and 10 all had everybody win an episode. Yeah, so it took until series 4 for everybody to win an episode. But I guess, wait, how many episodes does season 4 have? 8? Or were they still... Yeah, they had 8 episodes. But I guess kind of is harder with the earlier seasons because they only had 5 or 6 episodes. So for everybody to win an episode is pretty impressive. So it's definitely understandable why they didn't win an episode until then. Alice says, I love the series, more low-key and less competitive. Feel like they're friends in real life. Shame there's no studio audience, but I think it really suits the contestants' vibe. Yes, I agree. That's kind of why I'd say I like it. Definitely is. I just like that they're just all having fun rather than being really competitive. And obviously it is fun when they are competitive. Like, I do like that to an extent as well. But yeah, Kiara says, I feel bad because I think I've ranked these past 2 seasons lower in my head because of uncontrollable pandemic related things, but I do think this season is becoming one of my favourites. Yeah, obviously the pandemic has had a negative effect on the series. Like, I think that is kind of, that's kind of hard to avoid really. But I feel like for me, for season 10 and 11, the contestants have been absolutely amazing. Like, they haven't really let me down in any way. For me personally, I've enjoyed all the contestants, and I think that's obviously probably a benefit of moving over to Channel 4, is that they have access and more influence over the really, really popular comedians. Yeah. Ricky says, I feel like the show has taken a dip since season 8. I kind of get where you're coming from. Yeah, for me, season 8 is one of my least favourites. Season 9 I did really like, and I am really enjoying season 11, so yeah. And Don says, I'd rank it higher if there weren't as many disqualifications. Yeah, that was one kind of the thing that let me down about Series 10, is just so many people got disqualified like all the time. And yeah, it was kind of, it's kind of a bit annoying when it's like, oh, they're just all losing points. Like, it was funny to begin with, but yeah, just all losing points for like silly things as well. Caroline says, I just love this series. The contestants have strong, peculiar personalities. The interactions are sweet and fun. It's chill and good fun, which I love. Yes, I think that is really good. Like I said, the contestants are just really good, and like you said, strong, peculiar personalities, and they're all so different. And the fact that how kind of the good chemistry they have is incredible, considering how different they all are, which is really good. Have you checked out the Taskmaster wiki? Lots of good info over there. I have, yes. I should probably check it. I don't know if it's updated by the time I do the live streams, but I should probably update it. Look at it before each live stream. How does the live audience in the theatre thing work? Do they live stream it, or is it a sports where they edit instantaneously? I don't know. I don't know. I imagine it's kind of done afterwards. Michelle says the episodes were shown in the cinema after the fact. That makes more sense to me. I guess they kind of, edit it all and then put it in. But I feel like they might accidentally like cut things out that the audience find really funny. So obviously they can't avoid it. Missing the caravan tasks. I think someone pointed out in my last live stream that there's been no tasks that have like started in the caravan, which is probably a COVID thing, I imagine. I really liked season 10 though, especially Catherine and Alex's rapport with each other was amazing. Yeah, Catherine and Alex worked so well together. They're both kind of like awkward and a bit weird, and it was just really, really funny. I loved that. Season 10 introduced me to Mwan, and that's a big plus there. Yes, I love Mwan. I can't wait to see him in more things. He's really, really funny, and I really like Mwan. Kiara says, I think these contestants have really fantastic personalities and gel really well, which really makes or break the vibe of the season. I think that's kind of what, when I not dislike, because I do like every series, but like when a series isn't as good for me, it is always kind of the fact that the contestants just don't really work as well as a group. Like individually they may be really good, but just as a group doesn't quite vibe as well. But this series has been amazing. That's why I love season 7 so much, because they're just all insane and it just works so well together. I don't know. Kiara says, I'm confused though about health and safety things to do with the cinema. If they can have the audience watch it in the cinema, then why not in the theatre? I don't know, it all confuses me. I mean, I don't know. I imagine it might have to do with the fact that they film the studio bit. Maybe it might be kind of so they film the studio 2 episodes a day for 5 days. So they're there for 5 days, like in a row. And there's like obviously the audience changes each episode, or every like 2 episodes or something. So they have more people coming in and out. So they might have to have more time to kind of clean it out and disinfect everything and make it safe. That's just a guess, but that's kind of what I think is the reason for that. But it could also be like Michelle says, the restrictions are eased a bit by then. But I don't know. Might just be easier to clean it. I love how most series put together bigger known and lesser known contestants you're lured in by the big names but end up loving everybody. Yes, that is one of the things I love about Taskmaster. It's introduced me to so many amazing comedians that I would normally like not really watch. Which I really love, and yeah, love it. Mr. App says, extremely pointless trivia. This is the longest a 10-episode series has gone without a tie break, except for Series 9, which had the first tie break in its final episode. Yes, that is interesting. Yeah, that is cool. I haven't thought about that before, because some series, it's like tiebreaker, like every other episode. Yeah. But yeah, I do like the tie breaks. I wish they would release the tie break performance from like each contestant. I think that'd be really cool to see, because like they all do 10 tasks that we perhaps may never see, and some have amazing moments, like in series 5 when they had to kick the yogurt on. So when you actually watch in the episode, you only see the 2 people in the tie break, whereas they released it as an outtake, was Mark Watson's incredible yogurt kick. Like, how he managed that. And I imagine we would see like so many more incredible moments and performances if we were able to see all the tie break tasks. I do think Alex films 10 tie-break tasks just in case. I imagine they definitely film a lot of tie-break tasks, but they have had ones which are kind of live in the studio ones, like series 1, I think, when they had to do some like a maths question, and Ramesh, who's a maths teacher, just said a really random number that was way off and ended up losing the episode. So they definitely have they definitely film a lot, and I imagine they have to have a different one for each episode, or at least, so maybe they only film 5 tie breaks, but then they have 5 kind of studio ones to do if needed, because they can't obviously pick and choose, at least for me anyway. They can't choose what tie break you have for each episode after they've done them, because you'll know who win. So they'd have to say, this is for episode 1, this is the tie break for episode 2, and then see how they do. That makes sense to me, but I have no idea, obviously. Alex Stewart says, I checked out everybody I hadn't heard when this series was announced, and now I'm a big fan of Sarah Kendall. Love that they just don't go for big names. Yes, I still haven't watched Sarah Kendall's TV show, which I really want to watch. I'm going to have to try and find it somewhere. But yeah, I really want to watch that. Guess Frank Skinner's age in minutes. Thank you. Yes, that was the one I was thinking of. And yeah, Ramesh just guessed like an insanely ridiculous number, and then he would have won the episode as well if it wasn't for that. There's also a few normal tasks that they don't show as well, as they record more tasks than they need. Alex described one from series 9, reseal this task, and explained what everyone did. It sounds hilarious. Oh, that's cool. Where was that in like his podcast or something from that? Was that from the Taskmaster? I haven't heard that before, but that sounds really, really fun. I'm definitely have to definitely have to find Alex saying that. But yeah, I knew they did film more tasks than they show, because some people pointed out that there are some tasks that are shown like in the opening credits that you don't actually see. So yeah, there definitely are tasks that we haven't seen, which I really want to see. The more Taskmaster content I can get, the better. And yeah, Frayed is on Now TV. Awesome. I will definitely check that out. Sarah Kendall's radio special, The Australian Trilogy, is phenomenal and on YouTube. Oh, I didn't realise it was on YouTube. Okay, I'll definitely check that out, because I found kind of like the thing on the radio, like, but it was obviously not available to listen to. But yeah, awesome. I'll check that out as well. Found the thing about Alex saying on Reddit, talked about it with Ed Gamble on some radio show. Ah, okay, awesome. I'm sure I can find that somewhere. Yeah, I'll definitely have a look for that. That's awesome. Why do they film more than they need? I imagine if it's kind of when... Imagine if something goes wrong, or somebody might do something that they can't broadcast on TV or something like that, so they have to kind of be safe. Or they might look back at it and think this isn't very funny, and yeah, they want to have kind of backups. That's what I imagine anyway. White Buff says the TV company has the power to edit the tasks so there's a winner each episode, but I guess they have all tasks lined up for that episode. Yes, I have always wondered that, because you can manipulate it to have somebody win, but I don't think they've ever really done that. Obviously, I do think some people are occasionally overscored or underscored or whatever, but yeah, I can't imagine them doing that, like purposely making somebody win. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's the only thing I can... That's what I said about with the tiebreak tasks. Like, surely they have to decide which episode gets the tiebreak task before they do it, so then they don't know who's winning, who would win. Yeah, that's another reason why... yeah, so if everybody gets the same points or something extreme like that, like, yeah, if everything is just everybody does the same thing. Like, I know one in series 6, like, they're pulling the note from under the pint glass. Like, that was somebody that a task that seemed quite difficult, but just everybody did like with ease. So that there might be tasks like that which they just decide not to show because, like, well, it's everybody doing the same thing. And also, I think we talked about this in one of my other live streams, but the German Taskmaster got cancelled because everybody was just doing the same thing. Like, everybody's just approach to tasks were the same, so it didn't really work. Yeah, I think that's... Yeah, so I imagine there would be some tasks that are not shown because everybody just does the same thing and it's not entertaining. Alex has said that they traditionally never show the first task. I think the only time it was in series 8, counting the balls. It was series 10. I think it was. Yeah, I know which task you're talking about, but I think that was in series 10, not series 8, because with Catherine Parkinson and Greg's judging can be arbitrary. It can be. I think. Yeah, I guess with Taskmaster, there's always going to be disagreements over points because it is just subjective. Like, it is hard to judge it. Like, my judgment is different to your guys' judgment, and then that's also different to Greg's judgment. So yeah. There's a German Taskmaster 09. Yeah, well, there's not, it got cancelled, but yeah, there was originally supposed to be one, apparently. Sita says, with a show like Taskmaster, I don't even think winning is that important. Surely the contestants would rather be more memorable than be the winner. Yeah, I guess that obviously, like, some people are going to have different reasonings for going on Taskmaster. Like Richard Herring, for example, was such a big fan of the show and he was really competitive and wanted to win. But somebody like James Acaster, I guess, is different in the way that he's a fan of the show. I would imagine he would just want to experience it. Like, if for whatever reason I managed to get on Taskmaster, which is never going to happen, but like, I would want to just have fun and just enjoy it. I wouldn't really care too much about winning because it's just like the experience that matters more than whoever takes home the trophy at the end. But yeah, that's my personal opinion. I would just want to have fun with it. Some favourite moments. Josh's tattoo, amazing. And Mark and Nish's song, absolutely amazing. John's Three Blind Mice, again, brilliant. And Joe's Potato Throw, love it. Your favourite moments are when Greg's judgment are completely arbitrary. It's just so funny, like how he always scored football related items low because he hates football. Yes, yeah, definitely. I feel like occasionally it is just really funny where it's like, nah, I just don't like football, so you're not getting any points. And like the whole, I don't like young people, so you're not going to get any points. I think that's great. I think it is really funny. I will probably have to end the stream now because it has been over 2 hours, which is insane. I never thought I'd be talking for 2 hours about the show, but I am so grateful that so many people are watching this time. I think we've got the highest view count I've had so far, which is ridiculous. But yeah, thank you all for joining me. This has been really fun as usual. Mario says, Mario Segura says his reaction when his mum is wearing the fez is my favourite. That is, again, an amazing moment. So brilliant. So hopefully I will be able to do a stream next Saturday because it is really fun, and it does kind of make it difficult when I miss a week, but obviously it depends how much work I've got to do. Hopefully, and I look forward to seeing you. It has been really fun. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you next week. Thank you very much. Bye now.